Hello! So if you've ever done any sort of research on small dual sport motorcycles, you've probably seen that one, the Yamaha TW200, and that one, the Kawasaki KLX. So seeing as how I own both, I figured why not do a comparison between the two, and it'll be somewhat spec free, but I will be going over the ergonomics, the on-road performance. I'll do some low-speed skill drills with both. We'll do off-road riding. We'll talk about pricing and alternatives, and I will give you my final thoughts at the end. So let's begin. So before we begin, I do think that it's prudent that I give you some disclaimers. I'm a new rider, so don't make fun of me. Or do, I really don't care, I'm terrible. But I weigh 150 pounds and I have a 32-inch inseam. Okay, disclaimers on the T-Dub. So, stock depth wings at 18 PSI. And the front sprocket is 1 tooth larger, so it goes a wee bit faster. The carburetor looks like it's been apart at some point. I've never been in the carburetor, so I can't tell you if it's been rejetted or anything, but the throttle response is really good. Disclaimers on the KLX. So Kenda 270s, I'll be running them at 22 PSI for this video. The carburetor has been rejetted with the JD jet kit. Not a significant increase in anything, but it's worth doing, I think. Stock size front, and then the stock rear is a 42 tooth, and I've changed it to a 46 tooth. So it doesn't go as fast, but it's very torquey first gear.
One last disclaimer. I've been riding the KLX a lot longer than the T-Dub.
Ergonomics. First one up is the T-Dub. So it has a 31-inch seat height, 32-inch inseam. I'm wearing riding boots. Let's swing a leg over it and I'll tell you about it. So the seat is nice. I like the seat on this thing. So one thing to take note of is how my feet are sort of kicked out to the side. So even though it's a short bike, once you actually get on the pegs, it doesn't really feel that small. My DR, it felt cramped whenever I was in boots. This one, it doesn't really feel all that small. I dig it. Handlebars, when you're standing up on the bike, it does feel a little short. It would probably benefit from bar risers, but I do like the way it feels. And next up is the KLX250. So it has a 35-inch seat height. I have a 32-inch inseam. So it doesn't really math, does it? But check this out. My legs pretty much go straight down, so seat height's not really an issue. If it were any taller, I probably wouldn't like it. The seat is made of 2x4. It's pretty hard. Butt goes numb pretty quick. Handlebars feel good. But yeah. And on-road handling characteristics. So what can we say about the T-Dub? It does not handle well. Its handling is terrifying. It is something out of a horror movie. Its handling could be personified as someone in a hockey mask with a kitchen knife. Of the 4 bikes I've had, this is the one that was most likely to kill me, simply because I didn't know how to corner with it. It's really easy to cross the center line on this bad boy. But the trick to cornering with the T-Dub is you really have to lean it. You got to lean it like you mean it. Because you're going to say, hey, T-Dub, we're trying to go through this curve. And the T-Dub's like, I want to go in a straight line. And you're like, no, we're going to go in this corner. And it's still going to say no. And you're going to be scared to death. And the handling characteristics of the KLX250. So it handles like every other dual sport motorcycle ever made, which means it is fantastic. You're gonna love it. The steering is quite sensitive. If you've never ridden something with such touchy steering, it may be unnerving at first, but once you get used to it, it is the most fun you can have on two wheels. But yeah, that's it on handling. If you have any questions, throw them down below and I will try to answer them. And a top speed test. So the TW200 cc's 5-speed transmission. And we all know that it's slow. There's no sense denying that. But yeah, it's slow. But you will see advertised that it can do up to 70 miles an hour. But I really want you to know that once you hit 5th gear, it's really out of any power. It'll go faster, but it takes it some time to get there. And if you have to slow down for a car, a little black dog in the road, it's going to take you a little while to get back to highway speeds. And top speed is an eventual 67 with the tailwind. And the KLX. So I do think it's worth noting that the KLX is liquid cooled versus the T-Dub's air cooling. And it's probably also worth noting that the KLX has an additional 50 cc's of displacement and an extra gear. And it's also worth noting that the KLX speedometer is inaccurate. It gives you, I think, 5 bonus miles per hour. Makes you feel like you're going faster than you really are. But anyways, if I were to not incriminate myself, I would say that the top speed is 76. Gas mileage is better on the T-Dub. Still pretty good on the KLX though. Low speed skill drills. So first up we'll do the T-Dub and we'll try a full lock turn on it. But I want to show you something really neat about the T-Dub. So I'm going to do a full lock turn as tight as I can, and I'm not going to drag the rear brake. And do remember that I suck. Don't make fun of me, or do. I don't care. I'm going to try standing up now, but I'm not touching the rear brake at all. First up, we're going to try a full lock turn. Oh, so I just came to realization that I cannot do good turns on this. Yeah, I'm in business now. There we go. Full lock, baby. That's as tight as I'm going to get it without a lot more practice. I'm going to get it to about 10 miles an hour, and as soon as I get to the cone, I'm going to hit it rear brake only. 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 steps. Emergency braking, I'm going to use a rear brake only. I'm going to hit it at about 10 miles an hour. Indicated. Rear brake only. 1, 2. Race on the T-Dub. And just for fun, I'm not going to use the clutch. Give it more throttle going up this hill. No clutch, no miles an hour. Alright, and the slow race on the KLX. We are going to have to use the clutch on this. Alright, going to start. And finish. We interrupt this dirt bike video for another episode of Unwelcome Lovers. Roscoe, what are you doing, you chunky boy? Okay, off-road performance. We're going to take it on the little mini loop first. I'll give you a voiceover so you can hear what I think about it. So the most touted feature for the TW in terms of off-road performance is the super low gearing and the large contact patches on the tires. So the tires, I don't like those tires. I do think they give you a little bit better traction, but gosh, and maybe it's just the death wings and I need to change tires, but I've been blown offline every time I take them out. I have been scared to death riding the thing off-road. But as far as the low gearing, this thing will climb a mountain without even breaking a sweat. Like, it will idle up a mountain. I'm not even joking. And probably the worst thing about it in terms of off-road performance is the rear brake is pretty much useless. And the suspension is terrible. Let's go off-road with the KLX on the little mini loop, the easy loop. I'll give you a voiceover. I'll tell you what I think about it. A lot of good things to say here. So first is the suspension. After I first got it, I was having some issues with traction, so I set the sag, took a flathead screwdriver and went through the woods and started popping the clickers until it just felt right. Traction got way better. And on that same note, the clutch, the friction zone on that thing is as wide as Kansas. And it gives you so much control on the power delivery. And the last thing is the brakes. So if you ever had drum brakes and then you switch to hydraulic brakes are the bee's knees. Like, you can stop on a dime, you can throw it into a power slide. All of this stuff, the suspension, the clutch, the throttle, and the brakes, you throw them all together and it gives you such a controllable machine. And it's just so much fun to take this thing off-road and see what you can do with it. But one last thing. I've said it a million times, I'm a short rider, and what you're seeing is really easy, well-manicured trails. Once it starts getting sketchy, the bike gets tall and you have a bad time. But what happens when we don't have a trail and we have to take it through that? So what you're seeing now, this is where the TW shines. So between the low seat height and the low gearing, I hate to sound like a broken record from every other YouTube video on the TW, but it goes anywhere that you point it. So you all saw the small loop a while ago, but you haven't seen, and you're not going to see, the big loop. And it's a lot of stuff like this. There's a water crossing. You go through a creek bed. You get bounced offline by rocks. You go up and down, 3 or 4 mountains. And it's rough. And I tried it with my old KE100, and it just didn't have the power to do it. And I was too chicken to take the DR200. And I would have to pay a deductible if I took the KLX. But the TW does it easily. And how does a short rider fare on the KLX in really tight stuff? Let's find out. I don't know why I'm saying this let's find out crap. I already know. Alright. No broken bones. No broken bones. Luckily, I kind of picked out a line with the T-dub, so I just sort of have to follow the line. And if you haven't paid attention, haven't touched the throttle at all, then I can tell, I can feel the weight now. Whoa! And I just felt the seat height. I don't know if it's what it is, if it's the weight or what, but like going down a hill, it just wants to keep on trucking. Almost done. Pricing and alternatives. So this is all used prices that I've seen in my area over the course of the last couple years. So the T-dub is overpriced for what it is. For the same amount of money, you could get an XT250. You still have your short bike, but it has a bigger motor and a little bit more modern technology. But for, on average, about $1,000 less, 2/3 the price, you could get a DR200, which to the best of my memory does about the same thing. And KLX. So these things are a dime a dozen. I would guarantee you, if you'd hop on the marketplace right now, you could find one within about an hour drive of you for a pretty good price and really good condition. Availability on the T-dub is non-existent. Good luck finding one. But if you can't find the KLX, you could probably find a KLR250 or a Super Sherpa. But the last thing I want to tell you about pricing, I paid the same amount of money for both of these bikes. Paid $3,500 for that, and it needed new tires, tubes, and then a chain and sprocket set, and I paid $3,800 for that. We all make mistakes, children. And in conclusion, it's been a long video, so I'm gonna leave you with this. And hopefully, hopefully when I say this, it's all gonna make sense to you and you're gonna know, oh, this is the bike I need. So I'll leave you with this. If I had to hop on either one of these bikes right now and go somewhere, no question, it would be the KLX. I think it's the better bike all around. However, if I could only have one, it'd be the T-dub. And that's for me. Our farm, it's really treacherous and it's slow and it's a bunch of old technology and it's not an enjoyable ride at all. But it gets a pass on everything that I need it to do. KLX just does it with more style. So thanks for watching. Hit me up down below. We can fight online. We'll have a great time. Thank you all for watching.